Hopefully you should be seeing my slides. Got it? Cool, thank you very much. So as Joanna kind of mentioned, I am a postdoc researcher, so I do have scientific background, so it will be sort of science slant, but I'll try and cover sort of general PhD experience as I go. So I titled this Challenges of Research. As you know, PhDs come with their own challenges, and I'm just going to go through some of them I encountered and how I feel that I overcame them. So a little bit of background first. So how did I get here? So I did a neuroscience bachelor's at the University of Glasgow. I did my dissertation in spinal cord injury. I then took a year away from science, and I played with horses for a year. That is my hobby and passion, and I will happily talk to horses or talk about horses as much as I can. I then did a master's in biomedical science back here, and I then went thousands of miles away to University of Strathclyde town and did my PhD. So post PhD, I have, as Joanne mentioned, I've done three postdoc roles, and I'm on to my third just now. So my first one was research assistant at the Institute of Neuroscience and Psychology, now the School of Neuroscience and Psychology, and that was looking at traumatic brain injury. I then moved to the School of Cardiovascular and Metabolic Health, which is where I am now, and I was investigating novel mechanisms of treating stroke. And the current project I'm on is looking at hypertensive heart disease and targeted therapy, and we do that looking at really cool things called extracellular vesicles. Anyway, that's why I'm here. This is why I'm talking about what I'm talking about. So, challenges of research. So, postgrad blues, it is definitely a thing. You've gone from school to university, you've had 4 years of structure, progression and support, and then it's just like you're just dropped into the complete unknown. So you've got options, as you guys know. Do you want to go on to further study? Do you want a career outside of science? Do you want a career of industry, or do you want to do a PhD? And that's why we're here. I should also mention that we've all been through a small challenge recently, COVID-19, but I'm not going to talk about that anymore. It doesn't need any more glory. So you want to do a PhD. This I feel, and if you've seen me present before, I have used this again. This I feel is a good representation of the pathway through academia. So you've got your bachelor's. You then go on to do a master's. You're then about here right now. You're a PhD student. You're all right. This is me. I'm a postdoc researcher. A little bit crazy some of the time, but it's all fine. And then you go on to be a PI or a professor. We can go and play golf and do nice things. But what area would you like to do your PhD in? So you guys have chosen, but just to give you an idea of what's available at the University of Glasgow, you could be in animal ecology, accounting and finance, cardiovascular medicine, cell engineering, electronics, economics, English literature, classical studies, classics, criminology, biochemistry, biomedical science, Celtic Gaelic, blah, blah, blah. And that's just what we offer at the University of Glasgow from A to E. I don't think I have a slide big enough to contain the whole alphabet. So specific to me, I use neuroscience. So just to have a sort of idea of what's available in neuroscience, you've got lots of different areas of cognitive development: clinical, molecular, cellular, behavioural, computational. So there's lots. One of the main issues with neuroscience and science PhDs is the lab work. So the lab work you do depends on the type of research. You might be involved in looking at human samples, cell-based samples, computational work or animal work. For these, you'll need ethical approval. If you're doing animal work, you'll need a Home Office license, which you'll have to have personal, project and technique specific. And then you'll be introduced into new techniques. And these techniques might be novel, they might be challenging, they'll each have their different sort of issues come up. So what are the challenges of a lab-based PhD? So if you are doing cellular work, you can get infections. It can be time consuming. If you're doing animal work, you can be under pressure. It can be stressful. It is emotional. You do get attached to the animals. If you're working on human tissue, it's delicate tissue. It's irreplaceable. You also have patient identifying information that you're working with, which you need to be careful with. And then just general, all PhDs, you'll be working long hours, you'll be by yourself a lot of the time. It is frustrating, and it is very difficult to replicate your work. You'll also have imposter syndrome. We all do, we all get it. You've gone through your undergrad experience, you've then moved to a new group, you've got a new boss, you've got a new supervisor, you're learning new techniques. Imposter syndrome, it happens everywhere. Everybody has it, so it's completely normal. I know you might go in and you might feel completely out of your depth, but that's okay too. I feel like that most day of my life, and everybody does. You need to remember though that you have gained skills from your undergrad degree. You have organizational skills, you've got time management, and you are fully qualified to be in the position that you're in. The other thing is that you'll need to start sort of thinking about funding. Sometimes in your PhD you get the chance to have little project ideas and apply for money. So that will involve a grant application. Grant applications normally consist of abstracts, sometimes a lay summary where you're just talking to the public about the project you're wanting to do. You have a proposed start and end date. You have expenses. You might want to try and get some technical support or material. And then again, if it's an animal project, you'd need some ethical approval, and also you need head of department approval. So your supervisor at some stage might suggest you go for some kind of funding, which is a good thing, especially to add to your CV and to have the own experience of your project. And again, the proposal itself sort of broken down by title, purpose, background, plan of investigation, and then justification of the money that you're asking for. And then through your PhD, you might get a chance to publish, which is incredible. If you don't get a chance, that's okay, but most decent supervisors should push you at some stage to publish your work. You'll need to gather your data. A lot of it will be negative, that's okay. Science is particularly, has a lot of negative data, but that's still valid. You need to assign time to it. The main problem with publishing is it's not got a specific deadline like the rest of your work will. So you need to put time aside to writing, analysis, statistics, which is a horrible word in my opinion. You then need to submit your work, you have to format it, it goes through peer review, and then whether or not it's published is another thing. So it might be accepted, it might be rejected, you might have to go back and do revisions on it, and then it'll be invited back hopefully for resubmission. And then another big part of your PhD that can be difficult is the people. It's the same across any work, and you'll have come across this already in your life. It might be your boss, you might not necessarily get on with your PI. They might be a bit unclear with communication. If so, you need to explain that to them if you're not quite understanding something. They might micromanage you and literally be on your back every step of the way. If that happens, you need to say, look, I'm okay, just give me a little bit of space and I'll work through this. They might not be there, they might be totally the other opposite and not be present. And if that's the case, again, I think it's important for you to say to them, I need a bit more support in the lab, or I need a bit more support on this. Or they might be negative. And if you are unsure or you are uncomfortable with anything, please go out and seek help. Don't sit and feel like you're alone. It might be your co-workers that are causing issues. There's always teammates that you're not going to get on with. You might work differently. You just might not like each other. And there's politics that go on. That's okay. That happens. You just have to be civil and adult and just get on with your work and your project. And you might get students to look after. You might get undergrads or master's students to look after. You might have to deal with work experience students. So again, these people can prove different challenges, but it's part of the PhD experience and they're all very important. Another thing that can be difficult is time management. You have your workload to manage, but you've also got your students and sometimes even your bosses. You need to plan things. So plan out your experiments, your consumables, prioritization, things that have deadlines need to go first, but sometimes the things that you're avoiding for ages, you just have to bite the bush. That's not what I meant to say. You just have to actually do it. You just have to go for the things that you're avoiding and putting off. One thing I would say to PhD students, don't just be busy, be productive. If you find you're just going in and wildly doing stuff, you need to go in and prioritize things and write a list of to-do things and feel like you're ticking off the little things every day. Procrastination is another big thing in your PhD. There will be a time where you're distracted by Facebook, probably potentially just now while I'm talking. You might want to go on Instagram or TikTok, and avoidance behavior. You might want to go and clean your entire flat before you start that report. That's normal behavior, but sometimes cleaning needs to come after reports. And also sometimes you might just lack motivation. Sometimes it's important just to go out for a walk in the park and come back and reset yourself and stop saying tomorrow if you're putting something off, but make sure you're in a healthy place to do that. So sorry, I know I'm running over time, but I'll try and speed up. Work-life balance is important. People often say there's no work-life balance in academia, and that's not possible. That's not correct, and that's not right. You work to live, you don't live to work. You need to put first your happiness, you need to put first your well-being, and you also have to take breaks. These are vital for a PhD. Then I want to think about the positives of a PhD. I love the people that I work with. I have a lovely team. This is us on our Christmas selfie stick, our Christmas night out. I have a great institute and great support here, and you will find your people. I love my topic. This is a mug of my first paper. It got the abstract published. My little brother bought me it. And I love my topic. I am a science geek. And that's okay. Enjoy your work, enjoy your topic. Conferences. Hopefully now that COVID's away, well, away, you get to go abroad. You'll hopefully get to go to conferences and meet new people, meet new colleagues. And there'll be different opportunities. I've applied for the Glasgow Crucible recently, and it's a support network for early career researchers, and got to go to Loch Lomond, and it was incredible. So there are loads of opportunities at the Uni of Glasgow, so take opportunities. And I love that no day is ever the same. I don't normally do talks like this on a day-to-day basis. I'm in the lab, but things are never the same, which I really enjoy. So just quickly, main tips for PhD survival: enjoy your subject. You have to enjoy your subject. If you don't, it's not going to work. You've got 3-4 years that you have to put all your efforts and enjoyment into, so make sure you love your subject. Surround yourself with good people, have that support network there. If you have a bad day, go and talk to them, go out for a walk, but make sure you've got good supportive people around you. Reward yourself. If you've had a hard day, have a wee treat, go for a nice meal, have a glass of wine, not too many, but you know, treat yourself and look after yourself. Make the most of your time in your PhD. You've only got a very, very short journey, and it's a very rare journey that you'll go through with your PhD. So make sure you make the most of it. And please, for the love of God, write everything down. When you come to write your PhD thesis, you will need to know what's happened in the past. Write everything down. Yeah, that's me. So my name's Josie Fullerton. This is my Twitter account. If you want to email me, tweet me, direct message me or whatever, please do. I'll be here to answer questions as well. Thank you.